I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from Do the Wrong Thing, a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman describing her suicide attempt as ordinary, like brushing my teeth. In an attempt to answer the question, why did I do it? She tells her life story. We're about a third through book 4, working title, Eyes of Different Colors. Last week, Ava was allowed to get her own beer at Nerd and Doof and rented a skeleton from Arbor University. Thanks for the feedback. I'm going to move the Quentin section elsewhere. Skeletons continued. My heart stops. I stop. Who is that? I start walking again. I'm far enough away that I can watch this god without being noticed. Tall, thin, and graceful, he unloads furniture from a trailer and carries it into Nerd. As I get closer, I see a shaved head and thick, black Buddy Holly glasses, the kind I admire on older, politically involved women. Arms covered in tattoos. This is 1989. People don't have tattoos unless they're sailors, criminals, or Emily. His tattoos aren't of anchors or skulls, though. They're designs and symbols, like he's taken notes on his skin in a secret language. The only thing remotely image-oriented is a spider web on his right elbow. He hoists a chair from the trailer, and my knees go weak as his upper arms bulge. I trip. Johnny turns around. Hey, Ava. I nod, but can't speak. The guy looks my way and smiles slightly. My eyes drink in the sapphire blue of his and his sharp cheekbones and unusually red lips that curl up at the top like that statue of David. Farmer Ben, someone calls. He turns slowly and grins. It's harder than I thought it'd be to trace a skeleton. I keep moving my lamp further and further back until it's at the wall. I managed to get a relatively non-skewed, close to life-size shadow, but it's cut off at the knees. A tripod and more than one light would have made it easier. I traced the shadow onto another white sheet, then to use as a pattern onto paper. With my pattern, I cut 3 fabric skeletons, one in bright orange and yellow, psychedelically patterned polyester, one in bright pink and red flowered polyester, and one in dark purple velvet. I glue these flimsy and delicate things over the byway signs and Francis Bacon heads in the hallway, then add more paint, mainly orange, pink, and green fluorescent dots to the right of the purple skeleton. I'm happy. Going back to the second skeleton on the plain white sheet, I paint a bunch of fluorescent colored squares beside it, then fill in the empty space around the squares and skeleton with black. I X-Acto out the skeleton, spray paint another sheet with glow-in-the-dark paint, and put that behind the first. A glow-in-the-dark skeleton. Cool. It needs butterflies. Real ones attaching themselves to the bones. How can I mimic that? Wire and cheesecloth might work, but I'll have to draw and paint. Shit. I grab a bunch of books at the library, choose 4 butterflies, and go to the art store for the required paint. A week later, my first butterfly, about the size of the skeleton's head, flaps its pale blue iridescent wings away from the skeleton's shoulder. Not only did the wire and cheesecloth work, I can paint. I look at my hands in wonder. I quickly make 3 more insects. A brown and yellow butterfly nibbles the knee. A bright red one, the ribs, and a black and white striped one flies between the skeleton and the steeple of colored squares. I buy pale aqua Christmas lights and poke them through holes from the back of the now black painted sheet outlining the bone man. I'm happy. Next chapter, Larper. Remove. I know I should throw these out, but I can't. Reader, you can skip this chapter. And remove. Do you want to go with us to St. Anne tomorrow? Johnny asks as he, the redhead, Greg, and a couple others sit drinking at Nerd. I tilt my head and look up at him, puzzled. They serve a free lunch every weekday. Oh, isn't that for people? Johnny laughs. They don't check ID. He giggles. It's good. Free. St. Anne's is a small church on the other side of downtown. Johnny, Greg, the 2 others, and myself trudge through the melting snow. The church's auditorium smells like urine and old socks. The cement floor covered in water, snow tracked in on people's shoes. The customers are, what are they? Most don't look like us. Victims, the poor, the needy, patients, wards. The wards are rough, lumpen, wrinkled men in faded gray, brown, and black attire with shiny elbows and knees. anchored to the planet with heavy work boots. There's one exception, standing near the serving area. This guy wears a faded yellow golf jacket and pleated jeans. He's got thin brown hair that stops about mid-neck. Pale, with a drooping mustache and square, wire-rimmed glasses, he stares into space from eyes so dull they're scary. The men sit in groups of 2 or 3, the groups denser near the serving line, then thinning out towards the back. We take our trays to the back and eat in silence. The shepherd's pie is hot, though, and the salad reasonably fresh. Have you ever begged? Johnny asks as he and I nurse beers at Nerd. You mean like for money on the street? Yeah. No. Have you? He laughs, shaking his head. Want to try it? Together? A sharp light appears in his eyes. I do my dad's laugh, exhaling quickly and shortly through my nose twice. I don't think I could, I say. Johnny smiles at me, but his eyes are still like lasers. If you're afraid, you should confront your fear. I smush my lips together, do my dad's laugh again. I suppose. Come on, he giggles. Let's do it. Dad's laugh again as I grip my bottle, raise it to my lips, put it down, smile, grimace, and meet Johnny's eyes. Okay. When? Tomorrow? We don't need the money. We merely think, I think, it'll be not exactly fun. I don't believe Johnny that it's confronting a fear. No one talks much at Nerd and Doof. I have to talk to customers at the Pioneer. It's not a problem, but if I don't have to talk, I'd rather not. People who hang at Nerd and Doof are the same, I think. Emily and I converse, it's true. But we have personal stories no one wants to hear and details about work, music, and grim art to share. We both like to drink. Generally speaking, women or girls talk about getting men. This upsets me. Further, they're catty liars, always competing to get the men. But women can have jobs now. We don't need boyfriends and husbands. I could have stayed in Dardanelle if I wanted to talk about men. Want one? Johnny says when I find him in the kitchen at Nerd and Doof. He tips a bottle of aspirin into his hand. Sure. He pours me a black coffee. They don't have cream. We drink in silence, trying to rinse last night's beer from our heads. Then we head to the corner of George and Mercy. I don't know why Johnny picks the corner. The futon shop where Pedro works is a few doors down. Johnny is dressed for the occasion, which is weird. He never dresses up, doesn't have docks or a motorcycle jacket. He's more of a hippie than a punk, fashion-wise. But today he wears an old-timey newspaper boy cap. At George and Mercy, we poke around the newspaper boxes. Maybe that's why he's wearing the cap, hoping to blend in or look like he's not actually begging. We mill. I smile at an elderly couple walking by, as does Johnny. A group of teenagers pass, followed by a 40-something man in a ski jacket and jeans, a woman tick-tock talking in high heels, and a couple girls my age in ski jackets and jeans. I look at my hands. Johnny elbows me in the side. I look at him and he starts to laugh. I laugh. We want to go? Yeah. He takes off his cap as we walk back to Nerd. Near my apartment, there's a women's center that serves lunch. I try it out, and the food is so good. Roast beef dinners, pork chops, things I'd never cook for myself, that I start going there every day when I'm not working. The center is warm and cozy in an old house, the staff friendly and the clientele not near as decrepit as the men at St. Anne's. I start staying afterwards to help clean up, then sit around and read old magazines. I don't tell anyone that I have a job. After several weeks, I give them a check for $100. I started a new job, I lie. They refuse to accept it, and I stop going because I feel like a fraud.